Yeah, on that note.
Yeah.
I'm going to go work on a Danny Phantom video now.
Sweet. Oh, finally.
I know, right?
Fucking finally.
Just
I've only been asking for it for like 6 months.
He's going to get back into it now.
Yeah.
You know what we could do?
Oh, God.
I could make you guys watch the Danny Phantom episode, and then you could be in the video.
Oh, Tom, you know we gotta go do something, right? Yeah, we be playing.
Yeah, I'm looking at my clock on my wrist. Yeah, it's that time. It's that time of the day.
Yeah.
It's wait, what's the date today? 19th of November. Yeah, that's England Day. That's England Day. Gotta go.
Yeah.
It's Britain's celebration day. Sorry, gotta eat my crumpets, drink my tea.
Yeah.
Shame. It's just a shame you caught me on this one day when we celebrate it. Gosh.
Yeah, that's okay. We can do it tomorrow.
No, but you see, it's part 2 tomorrow. Celebration Day.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Celebration, Britain celebration, 19th, 20th. It's very specific.
I think it goes on for a whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just reminded me.
Yeah,
you just thank you for reminding me, Shammy. That actually goes on for a whole week from today.
Okay. So okay, that's okay. That means I could still watch it with Shammy.
Well, you see, Shammy also celebrates Britain Day for the whole week as well.
Yes,
so she's not off.
I purchased a special plane ticket. I'm flying over to England.
Yeah, she's not of British heritage, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
So the Queen invited her over. Well, the Queen's dead, but the King invited her over.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
No. In fact, the Queen invited her over, but then after she invited her, she died, and then. In her will, the Queen knew she was dying, and in her dying will, it was like, make sure you invite Shamrock Dragon 7 over to England to celebrate Britain Day for the whole week. So you can't really go against the Queen's wishes, Will.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, remember when I said I was going to skim through certain episodes? I'm playing that card now. Prisoners of Love is that one episode everyone would have completely forgotten about had it not been for the fact that it was the one where we got to see what the Ghost Zone looks like. Other than that, it's one of the most blatant examples the show has to offer us of the writers turbocharging through a plot in order to stuff in as much as they can into 20 minutes. Dear God, this episode has so much crap going on, and you only have about 30 seconds to process each bit. You have your plot A, which is Danny trying to find a lost present for his parents' anniversary, only to end up getting arrested by Ghost Dog the Bounty Hunter. You have your plot B, where Jack and Maddie are in a fight, and Maddie's visiting her overly bitter divorced sister in the meantime. You have your plot C, where Sam and Tucker are trying to find Danny in the Ghost Zone. And then you have your plot D, where Jazz is having her latest mental breakdown.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the subplot of Jazz is losing her mind.
There's a lot of mental illness in this family.
All of it so meticulously crammed into one episode on top of all of the usual narrative disasters that take place in any given Danny Phantom story. The story kicks off with the introduction of the Spectre Speeder, a vehicle meant for the exploration of the Ghost Zone. Jack and Maddie never use it. In addition to that, they also never notice when it's missing, even though Danny treats it like it's basically just his car that he lends out. Surprise. Not like this thing unlocks dozens of cool story possibilities or anything. Throughout the series, it's often relegated to just being the thing that Sam and Tucker are in, so Danny doesn't have to carry them. Even though it's immensely redundant anyway, since Sam and Tucker should be able to fly when they're in the Ghost Zone, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. For now, its introduction is mainly just the conduit for showing the audience what the Ghost Zone looks like. After Maddie comes down and gets mad at Jack for forgetting their anniversary, she accidentally turns the thing on and pushes it through the ghost portal.
Also, how strong is she? She just fucking shook that entire thing and made the gear shift change. Also, Danny, you could have just pulled the reverse. You're just doing nothing and screaming.
You could have just gotten out of the car, man.
Mm-hmm. You like to phase through stuff in front of people all the time. Why didn't you do that? Now you're still just doing nothing.
Yeah. I've always kind of had mixed feelings about the show outright giving us what the Ghost Zone looks like. On the one hand, it's a pretty nifty payoff, and it makes sense that Danny would eventually be exploring it. But on the other hand, it was a good unknown to have, and something that gave the show a much-needed air of mysteriousness. I obviously can't say it's the right or wrong decision to make, since you can obviously still make good stories from it regardless. And I also can't really comment on the aesthetic. It works for the overall theme of the show. However, I can see that Butch was trying to go for some kind of surreal, abstract dream world type thing that he either gave up on in future episodes or just stopped putting the effort forth after the first few shots were done. It's a shame that he didn't maintain this kind of surreal atmosphere in the Ghost Zone's appearance going forward, because there's certainly a lot of things that could be done to play around with that and make the zone a lot more of a psychologically formidable destination. They were definitely trying to do that in this episode, but it's the only time they ever did, and the extent of it was, oh no, it goes on forever and doors lead to spooky places. I'm not really here to be throwing out creative alternatives moreover than I am discussing the actual narrative issues, but I do think that the Ghost Zone could have been improved upon from its foundation, rather than just making it the Danny Phantom fairy world, which is ultimately what it ended up becoming. I would argue that there could be some upgrades to be made. At this point of the show, Butch is still saying that the ghosts are dead people, so the idea of turning the zone into a purgatory type of world is something that could yield some neat world building. A purgatory where your mind may start slipping if you don't have the mental strength to be there, especially depending on how long you spend in it. It could explain the differences between the mentally stronger main ghosts and their lost soul equivalents. Characters such as Technus, Skulker, and that one dragon bitch are either strong enough to maintain their minds post-mortem or had very dramatic deaths or unfinished business, as the cliche goes. On the other hand, the generic green ghosts are the more common lost soul types that are just mindless entities wandering purgatory or acting entirely off of basic instincts. This could be extended to be something that affects humans when they're in the Ghost Zone as well, slowly unraveling them into a dreamy, unresponsive state unless they have the mental fortitude to keep their wits about them. This could be something that adds a little bit of an obstacle to the area, so it's not just something Sam and Tucker can go joyriding in whenever the desire pops up. But, green sky world is fine too, I guess. During Danny's little excursion into not dead people land, we're introduced to the main antagonist for today, Walker. Oh yes, we've finally made it to that one villain that was basically just Butch Hartman not coloring in a character design. Walker the Ghost Warden. As we find out later in the episode, he has Ghost Jail, where he has a bunch of ghost guards that help keep his prisoners locked up. Needless to say, this kind of implies some kind of government that operates in the Ghost Zone, but there's no way in hell I'm going to try and make sense of that. So for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to say that he's doing crap and some people are just going along with it.
Although he says ignorance doesn't matter and then lets him go.
Yeah. He tells Danny to get lost, and Danny agrees to such, but oh no, he accidentally shot the gift that Jack bought for Maddie into the ghost portal, and now he has to go back in and look for it. For full context, basically how this happens is Maddie is leaving to visit her sister for a bit. The episode tries to make us think that it's because Maddie is considering a divorce with Jack, but in reality it's just a setup for a joke. A very stupid joke. Jack ends up following her and spends the better part of his subplot trying to apologize for his forgetfulness, while Maddie's sister spends the whole time trying to convince her to divorce him. All the while, Butch provides us with all of the most embarrassing Southern stereotype jokes that he could possibly muster, including but not limited to people with bad teeth, people yelling yee-haw at each other, silly banjo music, and people spitting chewing tobacco in unison. Tana, do you get it?
Yeah.
It's because they're Southern.
Which is funny because this is what everybody thinks Montana's like.
Like, man, I'm all for making fun of Southern people, but you're barely even doing that. You're just sitting there going, look at the guy with the southern accent. That's the entire joke.
Excuse me, do you gentlemen have a bathroom? Outhouse? Place I can wheeze.
Oh my god. They didn't understand what he was saying because he wasn't speaking southern. And it's funny because he really has to go to the bathroom, but we're in the South, so bathrooms don't exist. Let's see, what are other funny southern words? Rhubarb. You can go piss on the rhubarb, Jack. It's funny because it's Maddie's sister's rhubarb and she doesn't want you to do that. Mind you, this is a joke that takes up about 20% of this episode. It comes up 3 times. Butch really thought the rhubarb thing was funny. In the end, the big twist we're provided with all this nonsense is that Maddie was never actually planning a divorce, and the whole reason she came down here to begin with was to celebrate her sister's divorce anniversary. So that there, in and of itself, the whole subplot was just set up for this dumbass joke, but then we have Jack saying this.
Divorce? Oh no. Alicia must have gotten to Maddie, and word is spreading through the southern grapevine.
So, I guess Jack doesn't know about this, right? He also thinks that Maddie's considering a divorce, right? No, he's aware of it. He yells surprise along with Maddie here. And these morons were also in on the surprise party, which Jack would be aware of. So why he's talking like this here is a mystery we'll never solve. Also, given that context, that means that the sister wasn't encouraging Maddie in her indecisiveness. It means that she was just straight up trying to break up their relationship for no reason. So that's neat. But to bring myself back on track, after Jack chases after her in the beginning, Danny decides to clean up the house and lab to try and ease what he's assuming is a bad situation. In the process of doing so, he accidentally shoots the present into the ghost zone. Honey, why is the lab covered in char marks?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's not damaging anything. So is that a dangerous weapon, or is this just his ability to push stuff? Why is the ghost portal open?
And at this point, he's presented with a couple different options on what he can do. I'd like to present them to you now so we can get everything out on the table and determine what might be the most logical course of action to take. Bonus points for everyone who correctly guesses which one Danny decided to do. Keep in mind, we know from the get-go that the ghost zone is a physical realm that doesn't shift in any consistent fashion, meaning that the present is quite literally on the other side of the portal as we speak, slowly drifting away or possibly sinking downward. Still within viewing range, basically. Alright, let's begin. Option A. Jump through the portal and immediately grab it. Option B. Do not go after the present. Brood about it for a little while. Wait an entire day. Complain about it to your friends. Begin panicking. And then blindly dive into this completely unknown dimension to look for something that's undoubtedly already been taken or possibly destroyed. Any person who has seen a single episode of Danny Phantom can probably assume which option our little blossoming prodigy here decided upon. Danny Fenton, who has not made a single competent decision in his entire life, decided not to go immediately grab the present and come back while he knew where it was. He decided to wait an entire day just to ensure that it would be near impossible to find before going in to look for it.
It's not all your fault. This entire situation happening the way it has nothing to do with you, so... Also, ghost skeletons.
Nah. That's an interesting shot. A graveyard where skeletons pop up and try to grab Danny. That's weird. Almost like it implies something regarding what these entities are. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much.
That none of the ghosts would be dead.
Anyway, since the ghost zone isn't actually as big as Butch Hartman would like you to think it is, Walker almost immediately finds and arrests him for trespassing or some bullcrap, wherein he is taken to ghost prison.
Well, if it isn't the young whelp who helped us get locked up in this stinking place.
I'm sorry, what? Alright, we're hitting the first speed bump of this stupidity here. So after being brought to ghost prison, Danny finds that everybody he's fought prior to now is actually here locked up too. So we're getting ourselves a nifty little Arkham Asylum episode, except for the fact that none of this actually works and Oh my god, there's so much wrong with all of this. The hell are you people doing?
Desiree
here?
is right there. Desiree is right there. Desiree is right there. Desiree, I wish the entire prison wasn't here. I wish Walker was gone. I wish we were all free. I wish I had my parents present, and I wish I was back in the regular world. And I wish that you fucked off forever.
Nah, that doesn't work. We'll kick off with the simple thing. How is this Danny's fault, Skulker? But more importantly, what the hell are you even doing here? You were working for Vlad last time we saw, and you weren't even in the ghost zone. Now you are, and you've been arrested for... what exactly? What have any of you been arrested for? At least Walker is kind of pretending to have an excuse for Danny, but I'm not really sure what could warrant the lunch lady being arrested. Also, why is Technus still in his robot body thing? Why hasn't the reality bender escaped yet? Why are you all just standing outside the front doors of the prison? What are you doing? Hey, Desiree, you gigantic loser. I wish I was free and had the present back. What the hell is going on? Butch Hartman just wanted to throw everyone in all at once without putting a single ounce of forethought into it. And I really don't know why, but it particularly pisses me off that Technus is still in the robot body. The robot body that was made up of lab equipment that Danny supposedly returned after it collapsed in on itself. Technus was removed from the thing in his normal form, and now he's back in this other form for some stupid reason. The animators don't even know the default style for the villains of their own show. Meanwhile, Skulker, who is still allowed to keep his body armor with all the different weapons and defensive capabilities, hasn't done a single goddamn thing to try and escape. Nor has Desiree, the ghost that just has magic. Nor has the lunch lady, who, by some brain-dead dumbass idea, has been put in charge of the cafeteria. Yeah, guys, it'll be okay to let Poison Ivy keep a houseplant in her cell. Nothing bad could possibly happen from that. But no, it isn't actually until Danny comes along and says, "Hey guys, we're gonna bust out of here," that everyone remembers that they have supernatural abilities and begins using them.
These idiots only just now figured out that if we work together, we can leave.
They just now thought, let's stage a breakout. Never occurred to them before now.
Shouldn't the box ghosts be able to control the prison if it's a box?
And of course, since we're on a time limit, none of the guards are capable of doing literally anything to fight back against this riot. Oh no, the slightest sign of resistance, we're doomed. How has this not happened before? Do you idiots actually not know how to handle rowdy prisoners? You all just completely crumbled at the first sign of resistance? The hell kind of prison system is this dumbass sheet of paper running here? Bang. Bang, bang,
so
bang.
nobody's powers are suppressed here whatsoever, is
No.
what you're telling me.
But seeing how this is a first offense, I'm willing to be lenient. 1,000 years.
1,000 years, huh? Gee, that doesn't really fit in the schedule, Mr. Warden. I think I'm just gonna leave. Because what are you going to do about it? Hey, look, the old woman that you put in charge of the prison food just materialized a giant drumstick. Yeah, she demolished part of your wall with it, Mr. Warden. Was it maybe a bad idea to give her access to the one thing that her superpower was centered around, Mr. Warden? Also, little side note here, Walker has the present, because of course he does, and this allows us to be led up to the grand conclusion where we get the latest bit of world building via Sam and Tucker's arrival on the situation. Which brings me to the other subplot that we haven't really covered yet. The Sam and Tucker in the Spectre Speeder bit. While all the other droves of lunacy is taking place, Tucker discovers that the Spectre Speeder has a radar device that indicates the directions of items from the real world. After this discovery, the two head into the ghost zone themselves to help look for the present. Really, it's just to further the running gag of Jazz's going crazy, but I'm not going to waste my time going over all that.
Danny? Are you down there? You drive. I thought I heard someone down here.
Also, I thought I heard somebody down here does not hear the Spectre Peter go. Fucking, give me a fucking break.
After a while of this, they run into Dragon Bitch, because Butch really wanted this to be a reunion episode for some reason, and the better part of their story is spent being chased by her. It's at this point that we get the big discovery that is ultimately how Danny ends up winning. Since Tucker's an idiot, he ends up crashing the Spectre Speeder almost immediately, but since the plot armor is on his side, we end up finding out that the Ghost Zone has the polar opposite effects on humans that it does on ghosts in the real world. Put simply, humans can turn intangible in the Ghost Zone. If humans are ghosts in the ghost dimension, how is the dragon able to interact with the Spectre Speeder?
Yeah, but that hasn't been. That's only explained just now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In the ghost zone, we're the ghosts.
Well, how's about that? That's an interesting concept that I'm sure you'll absolutely stay consistent with going forward. However, this little line here isn't really all that accurate, because the implication isn't so much that you become a ghost in the Ghost Zone, because everyone here still has their powers. Flight, ghost rays, manifestation of objects, shape-shifting, all that's still there, and thus it's pretty safe to say that that's inherent to a ghost. Moreover, it seems to be implying that intangibility specifically is merely a side effect of the universe that you're in, which is very interesting, because in the real world, ghosts can turn intangible at will. However, here it's implied that humans are constantly in that state. There is more to talk about with this, but the examples I would need don't pop up for another few episodes, so we'll hold off for now. For the time being, in this episode, it is directly stated that ghosts cannot turn intangible in their own universe, whereas humans can/always are. Since this ability isn't an inherent power of these idiots, it's very interesting that they always know that they can do it when they come here, but let's not be looking into this retcon too closely now. We might find a crack or two. Like, you know, how Danny is still able to turn intangible in the real world when he's in human form, but for some reason can't when he's in the Ghost Zone in ghost form. No, you don't need to be worrying yourself about that. I'll even be generous about it and chalk it up to the fact that Danny's a gigantic moron and never thought to try it until just now. I think we're at the point where we can stop citing that as a flaw and start praising it as an internal consistency. But at long last, Danny's mental faculties are finally clicking on, and he defeats Walker by getting up and walking away. And there we are. I've pretty much covered everything. Danny retrieves the present, leaves. Him and Jazz teleport to Southern Land in the next shot, and then Jack and Maddie make up, or whatever. So, yeah. Sorry, was that an underwhelming ending to the critique? Yeah, well, this was an underwhelming episode. We didn't even get an important life lesson from any of it.
Oh, this is stupid.
What's stupid, Jack? Anything besides ghosts?
No, but pretending I'm something I'm not is.
There you go. Be yourself. That's today's important lesson. That, and don't follow the relationship advice given by people who can barely speak their own language. Danny Phantom's out here delivering the real psychological teachings, everyone.